Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Elite Trading Network. Today's a very exciting episode because we get to release the second version of the algorithm of the trading indicator that took me for the longest time to create. I've been working on this like 26, 28 hours nonstop, and finally, after accidentally deleting it one time, going back and restarting a couple times because I think it was I restarted a total of 4 times actually, for different reasons, but we're gonna break it down. First of all, I have here one of my best viewers here that has been sticking through it, and hopefully you're gonna start seeing results here pretty soon on the call, and so I guess he just was excited to check it out soon, before everyone else, so we're gonna walk it through it with him. He can ask questions. So the same questions you guys are probably gonna be asking, he can ask them live. Just, yeah, so you guys get, like, the whole 9 miles. So, first of all, quick little update with the website. I'm going to be making a whole different tab right here for the indicators. I'm going to be releasing different versions of them. I'll allow you guys access to whichever one you guys find most appealing, because maybe the previous indicator you guys liked was a lot better than this one, and this one's just too complicated for you, whatever it might be. And then I'm potentially working to get a new partnership with a really big firm. So stay tuned for that because it's really amazing. We've just been killing it. And so yeah, I got my good old man here, Mate, and we're gonna get to reviewing this amazing indicator. So it's very overwhelming at first, but once you start to understand everything, it is going to be your best friend. So I'm gonna jump to just some random market, and we can see how this is gonna work. First of all, we're going to go to the customization page right here, and you're going to enter your entry time frame. This is whatever time frame you enter on. It's very simple, all the way from 1 minute to the monthly. And oh my goodness, the amount of statistics that are ran behind the scenes is just absurd to calculate everything. So I trade on, yeah, I enter on a 5 minute, so we'll leave that at there. And I'll dive into this here in a little bit more, but set your entry time frame, your account size, and how much you risk per trade. And then you get a cool little option down here on the bottom right. You're gonna get some extra features that you'll be able to mess around with, but you can hide that if it's just too much for you, or if you're on a mobile device, whatever it might be. You can also change the position if you want it like middle right, for example. Maybe you don't like it there, wherever. But just some more customization. I like it bottom right. Okay, and then you can change all the colors in here if you don't like it, doesn't fit your theme, whatever it might be. And then this is going to be for your watermark up here. You can change your, or show or not show all these different things. You can show percent change as well. So all the basic stuff that came in the first model, but the biggest change has been entry time frame, and then I'll dive into the other differences here in a second. And then you can go into style. If you don't want to show the structure indicator, you can just turn that off however you want. If you don't want to show the background at all, I'll turn this off sometimes just to do my own analysis. You can do that, or you can turn off all the MAs, or you can turn off all the tables, so it turns off both indicators. So yeah, that is pretty much the basis of this, but the real sauce is in understanding how to use it. So there's so much to it, and I don't even know where to start. But first of all, if you look down here on your bottom right, you're gonna have your live date, and then your time and UTC. This is very important because oftentimes a lot of traders are in different time zones and whatnot, and they'll, like, it's very easy. You just come down here, and then you set your time to UTC. If you're talking to another trader, you want to see what trade he caught, UTC, and then everyone has the same time, which I think is very exceptional. You have your entry time frame ATR. This is very cool because now it's dynamic. Let's suppose your entry time frame is now on the 10 minute, or yeah, 15 minute, for example. Now that's going to update. Now you have your entry time frame to be 29. So this is really awesome because it's dynamic and changes. Yet again, it's static in the sense that no matter what time frame you change to, you're not going to have a changing ATR. It's going to be static. So like if I were to change, right now we're on the 5 minute, I'm going to jump to the 10 minute, all these numbers are going to stay the same, which is amazing because I'm always jumping between charts and I just want some constant value. Another thing is with your account size that you input it in here and your amount risk per trade, it's going to calculate how much you're risking per trade. And then the best feature, the one that was semi-hard to optimize here, was your risk or your contracts to open. This was incredibly hard to program because you're working in a static programming language, and you have to program something that's dynamic because every asset, if you look down here, in the statistics, every asset is going to have a different contract size, which is incredibly difficult to account for when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of markets, or tens of thousands in this case. So yeah, this has been a really nice feature. Don't count on it. Usually I just have my broker calculate everything, but like a really nice example, you would just come here or whatever. You go to your, I'm going to jump down to 5 minutes so you guys can see a little better. You jump down to your position sizing here, and then you just input what your ATR is going to be. And it kind of calculates how many contracts to open and all sorts of things. And then you can change your lot size depending on what you're working with. But yeah, it's just a really awesome tool. And if I set my contract size to like 20, whatever it might be, everyone has their own taste in things. But I'm just going to set this to 1. I calculate everything on a basis of 1. So then you can come here and kind of just set this equal to, I think it was 0.5 or something. And you can see right here, it'll calculate your lot size. And so this is something you just have to set once. You go in here, set how much you're going to risk. Right now on my lot size thing, I'm risking 0.5%. And then you can see here, I'll show open 3.9 whatever contracts. And this is a little bit more precise just because inside the actual program, I'm using a lot more decimal points. And then at the very end, rounding everything off. So you're going to open around 3.82 contracts, and it's very, very easy to just look. And usually a discrepancy of like 0.1 from your position tool isn't that bad. And you can see it's like, it should be like 3 or 9 point, what is that, 9.81. So yeah, you can see that's pretty dang accurate, 3.82 to 3.84. And yeah, so really, really awesome tool. And then you get probably one of the best features, which is it just kind of highlights what the overall analysis of the market is. It's telling you, this particular top line is telling you there's enough money for you to enter into the market. And this is all based on your account size and a lot of mathematics behind the scene, which you really don't have to worry about. It's just kind of plug and play. And then below, I added this new feature, which is a ranging market detection system, which is actually really, really cool. I went back, did some back tests, and it really keeps you out of some really, really bad markets. And so right now, we're actually just going to jump into a live market and explain to you what all these mean. So simply put, right here, we have yellow and we have green. And I'll explain red here. Yellow means a ranging market. That's why we have this message right here. So if I jump into replay mode and I jump right before it turns green again, you see you're going to get your ranging market detection. But as it plays forward, this is actually a trade I caught live, and I passed a amazing evaluation. But as it turns green here in a second, wait for it to turn green right about now, that message goes away and it's telling you, look, now we've exited some sort of ranging market environment. You're good to enter a position because you're not going to chop. And so you can see what happens when it's green and what happens when it's yellow. When it's green, it's going. When it's yellow, turns yellow for a second, it's like, oh, never mind. False flag. And yeah, I'm still working on optimizing this. We're going to have a whole, I have a whole series on optimization for all this, so no need to worry about that. And then it turns yellow and you just don't take anything. It turns green, it goes. It turns yellow here for a second, it stops, it turns green, it goes. And so it's a really wonderful tool to learn to see the markets a different way. Now, this isn't 100% accurate, and there's a lot of refinement to be done, but you can see generally it's pretty dang accurate. You got this ranging market this entire time it was yellow. So I think it's a wonderful tool. And then red signifies that, like, I'll show you. Red signifies that there's not enough money to support your investment in the market. So let's suppose now I'm trading with 1.5 mil instead of 150K. Well, more of the market is going to turn red. And what this means is simply don't put money in, because no matter where you put money in into this market, you're going to lose. No matter where you put money in, like, yeah, I guess sometimes you get lucky with the small push up. Actually, that was green. So that doesn't, yeah. So yeah, just don't put money in when it's red. Red, sideways, red, sideways, red, sideways, red, sideways. And you start to get the hang of things, and then it turns green, you're good to go. It turns yellow, you simply probably want to stay away. Now I'm going to add a feature where you can turn off the yellow portion. I think it can be a little overwhelming for some people, especially when you're dealing with so many colors. But as it plays out, this is the trade I caught once again. I woke up, my alerts went off on one of my systems, and I saw, oh, well, at this time it was red because I didn't have this new version. But at this point, it's yellow. and it just turned green right on my buy stop. And then I got buy stopped in, and lo and behold, it ran 23R. So I remember the people in my community, and I shared it with some other people, passed a challenge in like 2 days, and you know, it was because of this tool. If I wouldn't have used this tool, could have entered here, could have entered here. Look at what happened here. You know, little things like that will keep you out of the market and you won't even know why. And so using an indicator like this, especially when you're getting started, can help you understand the metrics of the market and how they move. So yeah, this is a good basis of everything. And then I optimized it a little bit better for Forex pairs as well. So Forex, oh yeah, we're trading with 1.5 mil. Probably shouldn't be trading 1.5 mil on a 5-minute time frame. And you'll see why. It's all painted red. It's telling you this market is liquid, but not liquid enough for 1.5 mil on a 5-minute market. And so what we can do is come adjust here. And let's say now we're trading on a 1-hour market. Now it's going to adjust for that. It knows, it's smart enough to know that the liquidity behind that market is going to support the move. Or like now we're trading 150K on an hourly. It should all nearly be green and yellow. 150K on an hourly. We might get some red here. Yeah. And it's we actually just changed it by a factor of 10, so that wouldn't change anything. But let's say we increase our risk to 0.8. Now we're going to see some more zones get covered. We'll increase this to, you can increase or decrease to kind of see the changes, but we can increase to like a whatever time this is. Okay, we won't do that. Okay, it takes a second for it to load. There's so much going on behind the scenes that it just overwhelms the system a little bit. But yeah, now we're trading 150K on a 5-minute entry with 0.8% risk. It already calculated how many lots, how many contracts to open, your ATR for that given entry time frame. Like, it's so amazing. And then once again, we can plot out general zones. What happens when it's red? Sideways. Red, sideways, but goes a little bit. Yet again, red doesn't signify if we're in a ranging market. Red signifies that there's not enough money for you to get involved in this market. It turns yellow. You don't touch. It turns red. You don't touch. You don't touch. Oh, what happens the moment it turns green? Nice little trending environment. Now, it's not directionally biased. It's not going to tell you to buy or sell. That's not what it's saying. It's saying, number one, there's enough money enough money in the market to support your move. And number two, we're in a nice trending environment. It's not telling you, hey, take a long or take a sell. It's telling you, hey, the market's primed. So if you get involved, there's likely going to get a move out of it. What happens when it turns red? Sideways. Turns green, it goes. Turns red, sideways. Turns red, sideways, right? And then you get your green and it goes. And so it's not perfect. There are still a lot of things that I got to refine. And trust me, there's going to be a lot better versions coming out here pretty soon. But I just wanted to get this out to you guys. And then there's another feature that I really wanted to add because I thought it would make my life so easy as well. I'm a very busy person and I'm always running around. So on top of that, if you go up here, click these 3 little dots, you can click add alert and you click on here and it will, yeah, I don't even think you have to select anything on here. You can create an alert off of the specific indicator and it will alert you whenever it turns green. Now I'm going to be messing around with this and making any adjustments as we come and go, but I'll be testing this the moment the market's open here in 1 day. So yeah, go play around with the tool. I really recommend it. You can do like USD JPY. I think we even included that in our data set. So yeah, what happens when it's yellow? Sideways. What happens when it turns green? It goes. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and adjust my account size to reflect something like you can trade the 5-second if you're a fucking crackhead. I used to be one. And what's going to happen? Most of it is going to turn red. Who the hell is going to trade 150K with 0.8% risk? Generally, you're going to trade maybe 0.2 when you're trading on a 5-second. Let it adjust and look. Now you get a very, very nice trending or market condition. And so you can jump down to your 5-second. And it even updates on the 5-second. So like I said, there's still a lot of adjustments to be made, but the 5-second is a lot more of a volatile market, which can make it actually very difficult to program. And there's so much data in here. But if we zoom in into any one of these regions and we just look at what price is doing, okay, green, buy, yellow, probably don't get involved in this market. Turns green again, you get your very nice longs. Same concepts I teach all along. Turns yellow, it goes sideways. Turns green, you go long. Turns yellow, we range. And it's just the same thing over and over again. Or if you're like an absolute crackhead, you can bring it down to the 1 second. And let's take a peek. Now, you probably shouldn't be trading, what is this? 150K with 0.2% risk. You might want to drop that to 0.1. It might not even support it. Now you're getting a little bit of green, but maybe you don't trade 150K. Maybe you trade 50K and you risk 0.4. We'll see what that does to the, okay, it closes it up even more. So you probably don't want to trade that much money on a market condition like this. Okay, if you're trading 0.1% on a 50K, generally, it's going to support the money. Now you're going to get a lot of like static of data just because we're on such a low time frame, but you can see even it's somewhat reasonable to some extent. But yeah, I don't trade 1 second. I think that's a little far-fetched. So maybe 5 second. You'll get a lot better data reading, and then notice how this works. Turns green, you buy, yellow, it stabilizes. Green, you buy, yellow stabilizes. Yellow stabilizes, maybe you don't get anything here. Green, you go, stabilize, don't really do anything, turns green, it goes. Yellow stabilizes, green, it goes. Now we're just kind of range bound. And then, yeah, I think it's a really cool feature because it really updates live time. So that was like my main priority, making sure it's very efficient to be able to run like 24/7. And yeah, so I don't know if you have any questions.
Yeah, I
Let me
have
know.
one more
Yeah.
question. Um, it's just a little bit difficult for me to see what the difference between the red and the yellow price action is exactly.
Okay. So let me step up to a higher time frame so it doesn't. It might be zoom as well because of the buffer speed of things, but we'll step up to a standard. We'll do 150K again, risking 0.5, and we'll jump to some other price action that's not UJ, like NQ. We can jump into here, go up into the 20-minute maybe. Okay. So what's here? I'm gonna adjust the filter a little bit and risk like 0.8 so we get a little bit more red in here. There we go. So what was your question?
It was hard for me to differentiate between like the red areas and the yellow areas in terms of price action.
Okay, so like, oh, okay. So like, what's the difference between the price
Yeah,
or what you can expect in price action difference between yellow and red?
yeah.
Okay, so let me increase my risk to 1.5 mil so we get a little bit more red. Perfect. Well, that's actually a lot of red. So maybe now we're risking like 0.5% per trade. Okay, well, let me zoom out here, see what we get. I want to go to a nice trending environment so I can really show you what happens when it turns yellow and when it turns red. So where do I even start here? This is an okay market. So note to self, don't trade this much on, don't trade 15 mil on RTY. Okay, 150K. So the very quick answer is there really is no difference from a end user perspective. Yellow, if I'm gonna explain it very simply, yellow means there is enough money to support your transaction in the market, meaning you're not gonna get slipped very bad, and the market's very likely to not trend. So yellow just means, hey, you can get in on this and not get fucked over, but the math behind it is saying it's not gonna go. The math behind it is saying it's just going to stay here, range bound. Now, when it turns red, it means if you were to enter, now you're really fucked because there's no volume and no money in the market to support that transaction. And then when it turns green, it's telling you now there's money and now there's a potential trend formulating. And that's what happens. When it turns red again, it means number one, there's no volume. When there's no volume, you're more prone to getting this sideways price action. So effectively speaking, from an end user perspective, it means the same thing. It simply means don't trade. But the yellow is simply telling you another metric of saying, hey, you can trade here. There is enough money to support your move in the market. However, it's likely to not go, right? It's likely to not trend.
Mm.
So you can kind of adjust your account size and how much you risk. But let's suppose I'm going to give another example because I really want to give the example of like, okay, what happens once you really start scaling your accounts? So once again, in this market, NASDAQ is one of the most liquid markets in the, or assets in the market, right? NASDAQ, you got millions or trillions of dollars moving through it a day. And so you're not going to see a whole lot of red. There's not going to be a lot of moments in time where you get into the market and you can't get in properly, right? You're not going to get slipped. It's one of the most liquid assets, and it's a centralized market as well, so it's very nice. So you're not going to see a whole lot of red, but you're going to see a whole lot of yellow. And what yellow is telling you is this market is likely to not trend. Okay, so you get your yellow, you get like some small mini burst, and we fall back into yellow. This entire time you're not trading because effectively you're losing your edge a little bit by not knowing when to get involved in the market. Once again, it turns yellow again. Like maybe you scalp something in here, turns yellow again, and you don't do anything. It turns green. You take your buy stops all along here, however you want to get entered, and you just let it ride. Like for me, the moment it turned green here, I took my long, and like, yeah. So what was the point I was actually building on is if we go here and I want to show the scaling factor of it. So now if we're trading 1.5 mil on NASDAQ with 0.5% risk, we're going to see so much more red. Let's see what happens. There you go. Now this is telling you not only is the market not going to trend, but if you enter with 1.5 mil or with a contract of 7,500 per contract or per risk per R, nothing's going to happen. You're more likely to lose your money. And notice how even then you still get your green zones that go. Even then you still get your green zones that go. It's just refining at what points you can get in the market. And it filters those out. Like right here, there was so much money in the market that not only was it trending, but the market could support the money behind the move. Okay, so now we're going to go to another crazy example. Let's say you scaled up to 20 mil. Okay, you're trading 20 mil. Everything's going to be nearly red. I guess here the market was liquid enough to place a 20 mil order or whatever that risk would be, 100,000. So right here, only at this green area can you place a $100,000 trade and not get effed over because there was so much money pumping into the market in this giant move. But anywhere else you look, you probably don't want to be trading this market on a 5-minute entry with $100,000 worth of risk. So now let's suppose that your entries on a hourly. Well, you're going to get a lot more green because you get a lot more average movement. You get all these different things that are changing in the hourly, and 100 grand on an hourly candle right around here ain't going to do nothing, right? There's so much money in this market. There's so much money in this market. So you can see the difference between yellow, sideways, 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 turns green, go, 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 go. And then once again, for the opposite direction. Once again, this isn't directional bias or anything. It's not telling you to buy or sell. It's telling you the market is primed for you to get involved. Now, let's suppose now you're trading 200 million, so now $2 billion. Okay, now you're trading 2 billion, I believe. Maybe I forgot zero or something. Now there's going to be even less times in the market on a daily, or what entry did I do? On an hourly that you can get involved. And just like that, it keeps on calculating things. Or like if your entry is even lower on a 30, you're going to get even less market or less, market condition to be able to get involved with $1 million worth of risk per trade, right? Like you don't want to put $1 million into a market condition like this, and then it turns green, and maybe you can get your edge out of it. But yeah, that's the whole indicator, kind of very quickly.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, it can be a little tricky at first because it's just so overwhelming. There's so many things. You got to learn how to customize your values. And trust me, it was a lot more complex when I built it out at first. I had all sorts of sensitivity metrics that I was adjusting. And as time goes by, I'm going to run some more analytics on this indicator and whatnot, so we can really, really refine it down. This is like the most basic, dumbed down version 2 of it. So like it's nothing insane yet. But yeah, I'm going to be working on testing the alerts as soon as I can when the market reopens. But yeah, it's the hardest thing really was to incorporate different models. Number one for contract sizing, because that can be like hell. Because every contract, if you look down here, every market is going to have a different contract size. This has a contract size of 5,000. And so if you're trading in the market or whatever, I would just double check everything. Don't count on this thing too much. Just the particular ATR setting, like 3.2 or something. It's telling you to open up 0.074, and this is telling you 0.06. So it's quite accurate. It's just off by a few decimal points because this tool doesn't use decimal points. So I would go with this one as it's a lot more accurate. But yeah, as you're testing out different markets and looking to get involved, just keep that in mind, and yeah, just go mess around with it. Any more questions? Any more thoughts?
Yeah, one more. I remember you saying that you didn't want to depend on indicators too much,
Uh-huh.
and I was wondering if that was the indicators that were more based on like directional bias type indicators,
So
or this well,
yeah, that's a very good question. Generally, you almost never want to be dependent on anything for anything. Like even in the real world, you don't want to be dependent on your boss, but sometimes you have to. And it's not being dependent. Right now, if you were to take every indicator away from me, minus like the basic ones like MAs and whatnot, which I think I would still be profitable without. If you were to take all of those away, I would still be super profitable without any problem. And that I show in FX Replay. FX Replay, they don't allow custom indicators. And so this is more of a tool to just help my life a little bit. Because
hmm,
when I took this trade, I had my indicator on. The moment I saw this, I'm just like, cool, time to buy. I don't have to go look at volume. I don't have to go look at how much each candle is moving. It's just all calculated. And so it's a tool that will make your life a lot easier. Don't become dependent on it. Like, don't buy whenever it turns green. It could work. I was actually gonna go run some. I was gonna turn this into a strategy here in TradingView, and then I'm gonna go run statistics, and I'm gonna create different models of it. And every time it turns green, I'm gonna create tell the bot to buy, and every time it turns yellow or red, I'm gonna tell it to sell, and we're gonna see what happens. But generally speaking, if we were to include some sort of directional bias into this indicator, which I did at first, but I removed it because I didn't want people to become dependent on it. Because on top of this, it told you the trend. And generally, you don't want people that know the trend or can, figure out the trend. Like if I would have included directional bias in this, which I might in some future model, I already have the model created. It's just I didn't want to include it with this one because it's another feature that is just going to overwhelm people. But it would also predict directional model. So more likely than not, it would predict this down move, and then all you do is tell it to sell, and then you just kind of write it down. And so I don't want people to become dependent on stuff like this. It's more of a tool where beginners can come in here and say, okay, I want to see the market the exact same way this guy sees it. Oh, why is it choppy here? Why is it yellow? Like, why wouldn't he trade here? And you go in and you see what the price action is doing. Why are we range bound? What is actually going on? Oh, and why is it green here? And this is going to help a lot of people, a lot of new people, because they're going to see the market very differently. They're going to start to see these things on their own. And so it's kind of like a crutch a little bit. When you're first getting started, it's very helpful to just come and look at market conditions like these and say, why is it yellow, right? And then another cool thing is you can come in here and play with account sizes. And this has been created pretty well to the point where it's pretty accurate with the live markets. It will really account for the amount of money you have in the market. So if you're trading with whatever amount I just typed in, I forgot a zero. It will update to that, and then you say, oh, why can't larger accounts trade within here? And then you start answering your own questions. I just think it would have been a really wonderful tool for me to have when I was first getting started. And so now if I were any of my viewers, I'd go back, mess around with account sizes, go through, change how much you risk per trade, what your entry time frame is, and over time you can be like, oh, I really like trading on the 5 minute, and you go and set your 5 minute, and you go and look at how the market behaves on that. And then you'd see at what points you'd enter, or like after a back test, you can throw this on and see at what moments in time you were trading, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, don't rely on indicators. That's like my biggest pet peeve when someone's just fully reliant on an indicator. But it's really nice to have something to just look at and be like, oh, I'm not touching this. Because sometimes I'll get on at 11 a.m., which is kind of like where I draw the line for trading on my on my time zone. And I'd rather just look at this indicator, see that it's still green, and be like, oh, I'm good for long, instead of going to run my volume calculations and trying to see if I'm going to get slipped or not, or on some other assets, what the spread is, things like that, you know?
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot to it, and hopefully you like it. Of course, I'm going to be making so many adjustments to it as time goes by, but yeah, I kind of took some feedback, like the alerts idea. This was someone else's idea. And so I'm just excited to see if it works or how it works. So I'll be excited to set alerts Monday and see at what point they turn green, and then go check them back. And if there's a problem, I'll make sure to get that updated to you guys really quickly. But I'm online 24/7, so any sort of problem, and I'll take care of it. But yeah, initial thoughts. Do you think you'll like it? Do you like the old version? What are you thinking?
To be honest, I think this looks really good. It's just maybe for my eyes something to get used to, but
Bro, I
um
know, I know. So
yeah, but the concept is really really nice. Like I can see how this would be a great tool to use if you look at a lot of markets at the same time, etc.
yeah, you can just kind of glide through them. And at some point, I'm going to create a portal where you can go on a website and it'll summarize all the data. And then it'll tell you what markets are green, what markets have been green for a while. And then we can run all sorts of analytics. So you don't have to like jump in between markets to see which ones are good. You can just kind of jump on that website and it'll tell you without you having to go and do it all on your own. But yeah.
And that would be so interesting if you refine that with a system.
Yeah. I mean, this as is, if you can learn to use it properly, yellow, sideways, yellow, sideways, yellow, sideways, turns green, goes. Of course, you're gonna get like these weird yellow points sometimes, which you shouldn't be trading at all. Get entered, it goes. And then like giant sideways yellow, more sideways yellow, turns green for a little bit, and then fails back down. And so you can add. I'm gonna add here in the next update a smoothing operation to the analytics behind the scenes. And so what I'll do is you'll be able to change the sensitivity of how much yellow you have. So for example, if you don't want like these weird yellow stripes right here that really don't mean a whole lot to you, you can go ahead and change that and just remove those. So I already have that all set up, but it's just too much to like throw at someone at once. And I just want to do more testing as well. So yeah,
That was nice. That was nice.
yeah,
Looks good,
yeah.
man.
Hey, well, I really appreciate it. I'm gonna end the recording here real quick. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And yeah, message me any questions. I can help you guys set it up and whatnot. But yeah, peace out.